welcome back to Project Independence and You Community Talk Radio on 88.1 FM and WCWP.org. We are now in the Talk of the Town hour of Project Independence and You. We just had a terrific guest. Again, a really great guest, Kristina, and kudos to you. Perfect timing to talk with Dr. Jennifer McKelvey, who is a clinical psychologist over at Northwell, about managing anxiety and stress. You know, it's such a big topic, though. I mean, just talking to her, you know, in the beginning, it's like you want to range, like, why do people have anxiety? What is anxiety? Is it caused by stress? Does anxiety cause stress? Does it work together? You know, and you just, you know, just like almost every condition, there's a multitude of reasons that one could have it, but all of her little tidbits and ways of untalking yourself and
I mean, that was, listen, it was, if you guys could only see my desk and the notes that I was writing, because my head was trying for like the newsletter, you know, there was all kinds of thoughts going through my head, and even just for personal, you know, anyone that listens to the show or watches the show, I think clearly is aware this is a topic we talk about quite often, especially, you know, during when the pandemic first happened, and you know, we were on Zoom together, and yes, we were doing a radio show, but it was really like a group therapy, you know, that we would sit, you know, and talk, and John was with us, and you know, we were all kind of just working our way through it, and you know, we were talking about mindfulness things without really clicking in our brain that it was mindfulness things, you know, it was just these little tips that kind of worked in our lives, and we were sharing it, and I think having Dr. McKelvey on, who is a professional but came at it from a very practical standpoint. And I think that that's my favorite, you know, type of speaker or doctor is, you know, someone that's not going to talk in all these, you know, crazy words and things.
That was real world.
Right. And you know, and it's stuff that, you know, and I think it makes you want to do it, you know, because I'm that person. I like a good quick fix, you know, like something that I know I can do, you know, every day, and because you'll tend to get overwhelmed. Listen, that's why I've never like I've never dieted, because there's no way I'm going to sit there and commit. I know myself, I'm just not going to commit to a diet for, you know, more than one day, you know, so it's like these little tricks. And when she said about the supermarket, I'm really going to take that into, you know, practice for myself, because I think I spend so much of my life, you know, and I'm speaking from a personal standpoint, and, you know, I'll be on the line in the grocery store, and my head is going over 10 bazillion different things I have to do after the grocery store. I'll pick up my phone. I'll be looking at my phone. I'll be, you know, so I'm like constantly in a state of like a multitasking thing. And that's something that, whereas, yes, it's beneficial a lot of times, it also, you know, just time to decompress, I think is so important. And it's a great little tip that I'm going to try out. And I hope our listeners will try that out the next time they're in the supermarket as well. So I think that should be our homework assignment, guys. We'll all, when we're in the supermarket next time, we will and we can report back how we did online with our mindfulness techniques.
Well,
and you know what?
I'm sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, I liked a couple of things about what she said. You know, how she said, you know, mindfulness doesn't have just one connotation either. It's so, and I love that, because so many people, when they come on and talk about mindfulness, they have their like own kind of definition, but it's broad, and it could be. It's in any moment. But you know what? When you're in that supermarket and you're online and the cashier's a little slow, bless their soul, and the person behind you is even more frustrated because you're ahead of them, and then it's like crazy, and you realize you forget stuff and you're begging, and then you have to give them money. You know, it's like, oh God.
You see the bill of the groceries, and it really puts you
our approach to that, like you just said, Rebecca, was not like a rigid, like I have to be mindful now. It's mindful time.
Yeah.
Right? That's not how it should work.
Right.
You know, mindful means you are in the moment of wherever you are and whatever you're doing, and you're focused on it, and you know, it makes sense. And
it does.
You know, it ties in. Kristina, I like your golden nugget thing. And you know, mindfulness, the golden nugget to me in this whole thing was that it's not like a rigid, you must do it this way.
Right.
It's a mindful thing where your mind just goes into whatever you're doing, and you know, that's what you do. It's not that complicated.
It is. And I think about as back, you get to a good point because, mindfulness is such a broad topic. And like I said, I've been diving heavy into mindfulness, which I always kind of am. But, when I'm in the newsletter process, I like to have these kind of tips and stuff. And, there was a whole article on just the different categories of mindfulness, and one of it was around eating. And, on the show when a couple of months back when we had that topic, it made so much sense, because you'll hear mindfulness and eating, like, well, how do those two even go together? But it's, as you said, Otto, it's being present in that moment. So
Right.
just, really, and it's like observing, and that goes into, walking. And when we said looking around at the trees and, it's just being present, which I think is something. And I know I can struggle with it too, because I tend to, think about all kinds of different things, but it's something that I'm way more conscious of doing. So I'll sit there and you have to work at it, right? That doesn't
Yeah.
come easy, these things. And I think especially in a society, and especially in New York, let's be real, where there's so much going on all the time and we're constantly going, and then you have social media and, so everything is so fast paced that it's hard sometimes to be like, all right, I'm going to like just take a beat, and just kind of be in this situation. I think that's such an important topic to shed light on. And I was so looking forward to having Dr. McKelvey on, and she certainly did not disappoint, because I think these little things, if you can take away one little tip or trick, that you're going to incorporate in your life or that works for you, and you might have like a little spin on it, whatever it is. I think that's the point of it. It's not, it's not a cookie cutter thing,
I really like.
Yeah, I'm sorry, but the flip side of mindful, in my opinion, is filtering out stuff that maybe you don't want to be mindful of. Like if you watch the news and it's awful and you watch it for 5 hours, you should filter that out of your mind. You don't want to walk around like a moron, like you don't know what's going on, but on the other
Right.
hand,
But there's a limit.
you got a filtering option up here
Yeah.
too, where you can filter out. If you look at the world, there's stuff going on all over the world that is not good. All right. But there's also a lot of stuff going on all over the world that's very good.
Absolutely.
95% of the people are good people. We got this little percentage that causes all the havoc, and and it makes it harder on the other 98% or whatever the number. And you have to filter out some of that. You really do.
No, I
it's
think
kind
that's,
of a reverse
Otto, and I have to
mindfulness.
say I was very, you were very on track in that one of her tips were, writing, and I thought of you immediately, while you're sleeping. I know that you send yourself those emails, and I think it's, that all goes into journaling too, and just getting it, out of your head, because I think that's something we could all relate to, is lying in bed, and then all of a sudden every thought possibly known to man is like floating around in your head when you're really just trying to go to bed, so.
But then you can't go back to sleep because you keep thinking this whole thing over and over and over again.
Oh, I know.
So you don't forget. You don't want to forget it because it's such
Right.
a great idea. You don't want to forget.
You could do an Alexa reminder. Alexa,
I could do that.
You could do something like that if you can't find the pen or something like that.
The only problem with that is I don't want her to wake me up in the middle of the night.
Tell you it's time to reorder your Keurig decaf.
Yeah, to tell my story.
After 3 months.
Or I got a notification that my Amazon delivery arrived.
That's right.
Right.
You get them sometimes, but not all the time.
Right. One of the tidbits, I don't want to say tidbits, but things in life that have helped me, and Dr. McKelvey kind of talked about a little bit, and I talk about it a lot, is the thinking about control and managing. And one of the things that people ask me a lot of time is I am for the most part a pretty positive, upbeat person, and I juggle a lot, and I drive far to get to work, and I do work 2 jobs, and I've got these 2 kids, and I'm a single mom, and there's a lot going on, and some of my friends are like, I don't know how you do it, and I'm thinking to myself, well, first, I don't have a choice, but my response is now, like, how do you do it all? How do you, and you're always doing traveling and music and I'm like, because I manage. I manage it. I don't control anything. And that is the one thing, I have given up on. There is no controlling anything. Accept everything now. I mean, not everything, but even things physically with my body. I mean, as someone who teaches yoga, there are things that I can't do that I did 15 years ago. And so I have to kind of accept that. And because if I don't, and you force yourself, you're gonna hurt yourself. So I work with what I can do. And if you do replace that word, which I love that whole concept of doing things in every instance, instead of saying I got to control this, I got to, I have no control. But that's right. You really don't have control, but you can manage what you have in front of you. And some things you're not going to be able to do, but you manage what you can. This is your hand right now, and you got to play it.
But you just said something, all right? You said you don't have a choice earlier. You do have a choice. And you made the choice that you're going to do all these things that you talk about. Other people make the choice in the same boat as you. They don't do a lot of those things, all right? And these choices that people make.
Right.
And, that's a big thing in life is your choices. You could make some very bad choices and ruin your life, frankly.
I meant more in terms of I mean, I agree with you 100%. And I always have told that to my kids too. When they say, well, you didn't do this, and I said, listen, we're not all perfect parents, but if you're 10, you have a choice. I'll ultimately, their brains aren't fully developed, but these are things that are good and bad, and you do know you can kind of understand down the road what's going to happen. So I agree with you 100%. I kind of meant I don't have a choice, meaning I don't have control. I'm not controlling. So, I don't have, to me, I don't have a choice to control things. I'm just managing. I mean, that's what we all,
we're all just trying to manage,
That's it.
At the end of the day. And I think that's really I love that the managing versus control, and especially today with the and versus but. And I really these are things that I definitely am going to try to incorporate into my vocabulary, and I want everyone to know that's listening and watching, is it these are everybody's a work in progress, right? So no one's like walking around that has it all figured out, because then it'd be a way different
kind
of world. And I think it's just
her coach was so practical with the phase of life is very important because it's different.
Absolutely.
A 15-year-old has a lot different concerns than I do, as an example. All right.
Right.
And I fortunately I do talk to my grandchildren quite a bit. They go through some stuff. One gets dumped by somebody, and I tell them that I got dumped. When I was away in the Navy.
The nerve! Who did that to Otto?
Yeah.
Yeah, well.
Look what you lost out. Look what you missed out on.
I did luck out, and that's what I told my grandson. I said, you know what? If I didn't get dumped, you wouldn't be sitting here talking to me. So,
no, but that's why, but having those conversations, and that's why listen, as I've said a million times, I was very close with my grandparents. And I think that having these intergenerational conversations are so important for reasons like that, because listen, I remember what it was like to be a 15-year-old girl pining and crying over God knows who at the time, and you think your world is like over, and it's, and it's just, I mean, I laugh thinking about that, because believe me, you put a sad boy band song on for Kristina, when little Kristina, she's a mess, And but I think, you saying like, listen, like, it puts things into perspective, and where they might not get it immediately, those things do leave a lasting impact. And that's why I'm just, these are.
Well, there's another golden nugget, all right? A lot of times the only thing that takes care of anything is time. And you have to go through the time, and there's no quick switch that goes like that and fixes this right away. If you're getting over something, it takes time. It doesn't just happen in 5 minutes.
And that's so important, Otto, because, everyone, especially now, like, nobody has time, right? Like, so you're like, give it to me now. I want it done. Check it off. Like, I can't, like, so that is something that I think makes it hard, because you're so right. It is time, unfortunately, and I always say to my mom and listen, I'm very good, and I used to laugh with with John Ryan all the time about this, because I said, like, if I could only fully practice what I preach, I try, but,
Right.
and I laugh, because I say these things to my mom. I'm always trying to calm her down because she's just always, taking on everyone's burdens and stress, and especially during this time. And, I'll say all these things, and she, who knows me better than my mom, will be like, well, maybe if you should practice what you preach, But I think it's important to, really realize, like, you think back at all the things that you worried about, right? And you spent all this time worrying about it. And then years go on and you look back and you're like, I cannot believe I wasted such a chunk of getting myself physically sick, internally sick, just worrying about something, So it's something that I always try and, like, reel myself in and think, like, you have a whole list of things that you spent so much time worrying about and thought, oh my God, this is going to be a disaster. And it wasn't a disaster, So it's these little tips and tricks, right? That I think, and the number one important thing to do is to talk about it, and that's why I think we are fortunate to have this platform and, access to these amazing guests that, have so much knowledge, and to just go over it and to tell people, Otto, you had said it best before, like, just that you're not alone, right? All of us just
Right.
on
Yep.
this
He
call
said
in
it.
itself are dealing with, different versions of, stress and anxiety. And I feel like the average person, I haven't met one person right now, and I'd love to, that is just completely not stressed out during, the past couple of years. So I want to give out that number again, though, that we gave. It'll also be, if you're watching this on the video, it'll be at the end in case you don't have a pencil.
Right.
But for the Northwell Adult Behavioral Health Crisis Center, it is 718-470-8300. It's great because it's a walk-in clinic, but you can also make a reservation online. When I looked up the number, it really pops up and it says make a reservation. So it's very, very easy to do.
Yeah, because, like, one of the points that Otto had too was, there was so much stigma, and and we actually have to take a break. But, the point being, now, it used to be there was a lot of mental health people out there, but there's so much demand for it, you can't really even get appointments sometimes. But on that note, we'll be right back. You're listening to Project Independence and You, Community Talk Radio, Talk of the Town. You're listening to 88.1 FM and WCWP.org. We will be right back.
So I get this call from my grandma, and she's like,
"What's a podcast, and how much does it cost?"
So I tell her, podcasts are like radio shows, but you can download them on any device and listen to them anywhere at any time, and they're free. And then she says,
"I see, but where can you find good ones?"
And I'm like, go to wcwp.org/podcast and check out the lineup of original shows, or download any podcast app on your phone or tablet and search for LIU Studios. And she's all like,
"Oh, that sounds easy."
And then she asked me what an app is.
LIU Studios Podcasts, available on any podcast app. Those little button things on your phone screen. Just ask your grandkids.
And welcome back to Project Independence in You, Community Talk Radio on 88.1 FM and WCWP.org. My name is Rebecca Miller, and along with Otto Los and Kristina Liu, we are the hosting team, and we have another really special guest today, Gianna Palleschi. And Gianna is a high school student who had come up with this incredibly lovely idea for people who are surviving with breast cancer. And how we got Gianna is, I must disclose, and I do think, Kristina, that Lisa Abbey was on our show.
Yes, we've had Lisa on
a long
the show
time ago.
well.
So Lisa's been doing my hair since I was a teenager. And also, I think Gianna's mother. And Lisa is an incredible networker and just kind of knows how to put people together. And she just said, Rebecca, you have to get, Gianna on this show. And Kristina, I mentioned it to Kristina, and that was it. She took the ball.
Sold. That's right.
So here you are. I know you rushed here from gymnastics.
Yeah.
How'd that go today?
It was good. Yeah.
It went well. Good. So, Gianna, why don't you tell us a little bit about Pink Pom Pom and how it came to be? I mean, you're kind of young to already have all these statistics that you sent us on these boxes that you've created. So I'd love to hear a little bit about you and how this idea came to be.
Yes. So my mom is a breast surgeon, so I kind of like see how like because she kind of sometimes does like work at home like at night, like calling her patients and like making sure they're okay. And it kind of like made me think like, oh, like they must be going through like such like hard times. And like I was like, oh, like maybe I should like find a way to like kind of help them out. So that's kind of how like I started like the idea. And then from there I kind of figured like what would be the best way to kind of make them feel like hopeful and like during their journey. So I created Pink Pom Pom, and it, like the name kind of like represents how I'm like cheering them on. And I also include like a little like Pink Pom Pom keychain to the boxes that they get sent to them. And like each box includes like various items such as like candles, socks. I actually created like my own notepad with like my logo on it. And then I also include like personalized like cards, and then I write like the patient's name on it. And then if someone requested the box for them, like their name as well. And yes, that's kind of how it started.
Do you do the physical packaging of these boxes?
Yes.
So right now, you're the one who's packaging everything and doing it all.
Yes. It usually takes me, I try to do 20 at a time over the weekend. And it usually takes me about like 2 to 3 hours to do it each weekend. And I mail them out that day. And it usually takes like 3 to 4 days for it to get to the patient.
How do you get the names of the patients that you're going to send these to?
So on my website, I have like a request form. So I asked for like the sender's information and the recipient's information, and then I kind of just type like on my computer their address and then print it out, and then I tape it to the box that I like put the tape over it so it's like laminated and it doesn't.
Right.
So in a large part, you're counting on getting people to go to your website, and that's how they would request the box, the package.
Yes.
Right. What you want to give your website while we're at it?
Yeah, sure. It's www.pinkpompombreastcancer.org.
So I love this, that you have a list of all the countries that you've sent these to. I mean, the Philippines, South Africa, even Ireland and Spain. It's wonderful. So is that kind of, are those people that maybe heard about you through your mom, or is it people that are getting your website and seeing it and ordering it?
I think a big bulk of the people are through Facebook, actually.
Oh, good.
Because on the request form, like I asked them where did you find like Pink Pom Pom, and I think it was about like 75 to 85% was through Facebook, which is like pretty helpful to know, because then I can kind of more focus on Facebook. I also have Instagram, so for Pink Pom Pom, so I usually, if I post something through Instagram, I can do it through Facebook as well. So it's like in one like push of a button. So yes, I definitely think Facebook is a major leading factor to that.
Gianna, do you find that for the most part people are ordering these as, say, a gift for someone else who's going through it, or do people actually order it for themselves if they're going through it too?
Yes, that's actually a good question, because when I first created the request form, it didn't even come to mind that like people would request it for themselves, but I've actually had a lot of, I would say it's like 50-50
Oh, good.
for people requesting it for themselves versus other people, which I find like pretty interesting because at first like it didn't even come to mind, but it does like make sense because
Yeah.
like they can request it for themselves.
Right. And it's good. I like the people want to take care of themselves, and you have some like useful things that you've packaged. So you're this very young kind of almost entrepreneur raising money. So why don't you talk a little bit about what the money that you raise, where does that go toward? I'm sure some of it has to go back into building the product and getting it out there. So, and what is your business model for this person who's still in school and so busy? I mean, it was pretty hard to even find a good time, right, Kristina? She's so busy.
Yes. So I with a bulk of the money does go to the boxes because that's like a main part of it. But at some point, I haven't yet donated to a breast cancer research like foundation. I would like to donate at some point. I just right now have like a lot of requests to like still fulfill.
Right.
But I would at some point like to donate to support like other breast cancer research foundations.
When
Right. And I
people
think it's
come
important
on
to
and
mention
when
that,
they come on and they make this request, do they typically leave a donation? I mean, typically you're saying this is for free, right? You're not selling it. Basically, it's based on a donation. Typically, do people make a donation?
Typically people don't, which sometimes is a little bit of a struggle, but there are some people like here and there who donate like almost like like so generously that sometimes it like covers the cost of the other boxes. Because like on my website I put that each box is approximately $40 like with shipping costs. And I mean, even though some people don't donate, other people kind of like cover their costs, but lately it's been like a little bit slower. But it's still like moving along, just like a little bit slower.
You mentioned that in some where I read that you have 112 requests that you need to fill, and you need to get $40 a piece somehow.
Yeah.
So if people want to donate, when they hear this, how would they donate? Like, can you donate through your website? Is there a way there that you can put a credit card in and donate?
Yes. So I actually haven't set up the credit card form yet, but I do have for now a Venmo account.
Okay.
And after people press submit on the box request form, there's like a link that can direct them to the donation page.
Okay.
Yes. So, but at some point I would like to be able to have people put their credit card in because I think that that's like a easier way for more people to do that.
Yeah.
and I just wanted to say, I mean, this literally started in October. So I think it's important to note that, I mean, the fact that you've got, I mean, there's 173 boxes that you've sent out already since October in the middle of all this crazy world that we're in, I think is just incredible. And I'm sure as time goes on, it'll probably be hard to get you on the show because it's certainly, it's the boxes are beautiful. In this video, if you're watching the video, on North Hempstead TV, there will be a little picture of what the boxes looks like because it's just a really wonderful thing that you're doing. And I just want everyone to know, like, just to be aware of it. It's a great service.
Are we your first interview? I just wanted.
I did have, this is like my first formal one. Like I would say I did have like some phone calls, but they were more for just like I would help their company and they would help me kind of thing.
Right.
For example, like I worked with this like Perkies. It's like basically they're like sticky bras and she gave me like a discount code that I would then put in my boxes so I can like promote her. So it kind of like
that's great.
like helped each other with that.
Right. That's a great idea. That's cross advertising.
Yeah.
That's
Well, probably could she not take the YouTube link for this video and put it on your website?
sure.
You know, and you come across like a super little young lady, and your causes are very worthwhile, and it can't help but hopefully help encourage people when they hear you talk about it to donate $40 so that a package can be bought.
Yeah.
I'm going to do so.
Thank you.
Me too. How proud is your mother of you on a scale of like 1 to 500? Are you like?
Yeah, I would say she's pretty proud. I would say like most of the work to like get it started. Although I did need like her help with like setting up like a website because that was like a big thing. But she actually found someone from her like that who she works with to help me with my logo, which was helpful.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, so
Where is your mother a doctor?
she works with she's at somewhere in Manhasset, I think. I'm not
really?
Yeah.
Probably Northwell or something like that. So what about your future? Were you like gonna like go pre-med and now you're more interested in business? Like what has this done for you because this is really great, a great experience for you. You're having this kind of starting out from, grassroots to, working out, publicizing on Facebook and being on a radio show. I mean, you're moving right along. Are you interested in the business world in your future?
Definitely think like I do like business and kind of like math based like world kind of, and it might be nice to kind of like continue with the nonprofit journey, but like still kind of incorporate that like throughout, maybe like be like a business person like for a nonprofit, something like that.
All right. Well, it's great. It was so nice to have you on the show. And I want you to please enjoy your summer too. Not all business, have some fun, do a little traveling, hang out with your friends, and, certainly keep up this great work. And, I'd love for you to stay in touch with us and, keep us in mind. And when you start progressing and when you get the links for credit card, just let Kristina know. And we're just so happy to, promote what you're doing. And we all of us here wish you so much luck. And thank you so much for taking the time to be on Project Independence in Youth this afternoon.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thanks, Gianna.
Thank you.
Well,
take care. Thank you.
Bye.
So that was quite a guest.
Yeah.
Would she, aside from bringing on the grandchildren and things like that on the radio show, was she one of the youngest guests that we've had?
I would think so.
Right?
Yeah, no, when I think back, I would absolutely think so. And listen, her boxes are absolutely beautiful, and I think it's just admirable to showcase a young woman.
We asked her to show it on. We didn't even ask to look at it.
There's gonna be a picture, so there will be an actual picture. Yeah, there'll be a picture. I already cleared it with Dan if we could put that in the video, because I think it's nice, right, to showcase a young person in the community. And Otto, it's I like when things work out, because in our previous segment you were saying there's a lot more good going on in the world than bad. And boom,
it's a very good example, that's for sure.
It just shows you that, here she is in the middle of, because that's why I wanted to say it was since October 2021 is when she started this, amongst everything that's been going on. Just
And you know what I loved, what she said and got me, I was like holding back. She's like, what drove her to it was when her mother at night,
Yeah.
late at night, is calling her patients and, and she hears, whatever she's talking about. And what she really is trying to do is soothe them.
Yeah, and a little kindness, right, goes a long way. And we say that all the time on the show. It could be we know that this is kind of a mantra that I live by, a little tiny thing that you can do for someone, that especially someone that is struggling, I think is a beautiful thing. So if there's
I
more
would say her
parents in the
mother
world.
is a good example.
Yep.
Yes.
Based on she's listening to the phone calls, so they must be good phone calls. Not good, but you know what I'm saying? Like with empathy.
Right.
As opposed to just a mechanical doctor call.
Absolutely. And I just I just was excited to showcase someone doing this really, really great stuff. It is Pink Pom Pom Breast Cancer. I just want people to be reminded at the end of the video, it will be up for everyone to follow along.
All right. Well, we're going to just take a quick break. We'll be right back with Project Independence in You on Community Talk Radio, 88.1 FM and WCWP.org.
WCWP is your home for great music and great conversation. You'll find all that and more on WCWP.org. Listen live on the web, check out the lineup, subscribe to podcasts, and stay up to date on the latest station events. Get in touch with us and let us know if you like what you're hearing. And find out how you can support or get involved at the only community public radio station serving Nassau's North Shore. Plus, sign up to get a free bumper sticker. It's all online at WCWP.org.
And welcome back to Project Independence in You, Community Talk Radio on 88.1 FM and WCWP.org. We're talking now with Kristina Liu. It's our Talk of the Town segment, and we're going to hear all good things about the town. We just had just a lovely guest, a young woman, a teenager who kind of, came up with this business for soothing people who are going through breast cancer. And because her mother is a breast surgeon, and she would hear conversations, and she probably just felt like all this empathy and wanted to do something. And we're going to have some information on the website, and there's a way to, also help pay for some of the boxes, and that information will be on there as well. So another great guest. That would be like in partnership with you and I. Of course, I kind of gave you the name and you did all the other stuff.
Yeah. It was wonderful.
It was really nice. And I think she was our youngest guest we've ever had on.
Yeah, aside from like our families that we've had on, we've had a lot of family celebrations on the show, but I believe she might have been the youngest. I think so.
All right.
My memory serves correct. But I want to tell people that next week, we are going to have on Donald Olson, who is from the National Library Service for the Blind and Print. NLS is what they're known as, and it's the National Library Service. So they're going to be talking about talking books and other services that NLS provides, which I'm really excited to hear about. I think that's another amazing program that's available to people in need. So
right,
that is next week. Check that out. Hot off the presses, I also finished our August. Shows are fully scheduled and locked in, and I just want to give people just what is to come. So we have coming also at the end of July is the MedMinder Pharmacy, which I've mentioned before is really cool little technology that helps someone who might be a little forgetful and remembering when to take medicine. So it looks amazing. So I'm really curious to learn all about that. And then in August, I have on a dermatologist from Northwell Health will be on talking about skin health for seniors. I was determined to find someone on this skin kind of care safety topic, especially for the summer. So I have to give a shout out to the wonderful coordinator I work with over at Northwell Health, Annette Roth, who is just amazing. We were working, I can't tell you how many doctors we went through, but the scheduling wasn't working. And finally, we got this amazing Dr. Parisi, who it's really interesting because she specializes in the pathology of kind of skin disorders. So I'm excited to learn about that. I think that's certainly beneficial. And then we have a little break on August 12th that'll have some repeated shows. And August 19th is quite jam-packed because we have 2 representatives from PSEG Long Island. And there's going to be kind of a 2-part discussion going on. So the first half will be about electric utility scams. And then the second half is about PSEG has a lot of assistance programs that are available to people, whether it's based on income or different things. And it came across my desk, and I said, this would be a great topic. So I'm really happy that I was able to kind of have a dual show on. So the hour will be broken up into both of those topics. And then we're wrapping up August with someone from the Alzheimer's Association to discuss healthy living for your brain and body. Quite the variety of topics
Yeah.
we will be diving into. And I just want to remind people, if you missed any of shows or there's a topic that you wonder if we did, we have a search bar on our website, Project Independence website, that you were able to check out and listen to all kinds of old shows. There's a lot of good ones, I must say. So definitely check it out.
Quite the lineup.
Yes, quite the lineup is right. Beck, I think we must not let the show end without talking about we survived, or I should say you survived, and the community services team, the first Fun Day Monday. So give us a little glimpse as to what went on.
Okay, so I felt before we started it was going to be very telling as to how many people came,
Right.
the buses full, did everything kind of flow, how people felt safe, what people did. And I have to say, it went really, really well. We had a lot of buses out there, a lot of pickups along the way. We started out the day with pickleball instruction on the basketball courts.
So was there a big turnout for pickleball?
It was a great turnout, and it was
great.
going all day long, the whole time. And then we had line dancing. We have a new line dancing instructor, and she packed that pavilion. We could barely get Stan and Edie to set up. It was just,
that's great.
So that was packed. And I actually wound up teaching yoga because our fitness instructor who was coming didn't feel well. So I went and I taught a little bit of yoga, and it's always, it was very, very nice. It was really nice. I had a couple that came and they were like, all right, well, we're going to do yoga. We never did it before. And at the end of the class, I said, okay, so now you're yogis. And they're like, we are? I said, yes, you are yogis. You have practiced yoga. So that was really, it was great. And, just next week, I'm sure it'll be just as well. Just want to say, please keep an eye on the weather. If it's ever over 90 or it looks like it's going to rain, especially early, call 311 because we may have to postpone for Fun Day Monday's rain date, which would always be that Thursday. But I also want to talk a little bit about what I did this weekend, because it was like my music weekend, crazy music weekend. And I wound up at Manor Haven at one point too. Mm-hmm. So Saturday, I went to the Great South Bay Music Festival. Mm-hmm. And, that we stayed there for a few hours, and I wound up leaving. It was very hot. It got really, really busy. And there were some great vendors there, and it was a great experience. And I was like, you know what? Street Fighter is playing at Manor Haven in Port Washington. So my friend Diana and we said, let's go up there. So I'm now southeast in Patchogue.
You're just touring Long Island.
It took me an hour to get from the southeastern point, over in Patchogue, all the way up there. And it was wonderful. They were great. Manor Haven is so beautiful. It's a great place for an outdoor venue. And it was just so nice. And people were out on the water and the pool was open. And then on Sunday, I went to the city winery on the west side down at 15th, and I saw Strawberry Fields, which are most of the original Beatlemania cast.
Right.
And I think they're playing somewhere in North Hempstead at some point. So they did the show, and that was really nice. So that was my weekend. I did like the Grateful Dead, a little bit of the Rolling Stones, the Beatles. What more could, you know?
There you go. You had a quite little diverse. But, you know, that's a perfect segue into, on top of obviously Fun Day Monday, there's a lot of great musicians that are there that Beck has scheduled. And Monday is going to be Dance Aloha. So it's a little Hawaiian.
Yeah.
Amazing. I think it's, people are probably so excited to see them back. And then Simpatico, they've been at a bunch of different events in North Hempstead, especially for Project Independence. So I would put them like jazzy, right? Like that's
yes, definitely in that vein. I mean, they'll, you know, everything has a little jazzy sound to it, and no matter what song they sing, you'll hear that kind of jazzy version.
So I think that's super fun. So that is at Fun Day Monday. And then North Hempstead concert this weekend is going to be the Phil Collins tribute band, which is going to be at North Hempstead Beach Park. And I think that's going to be a great one too, Beck. That's at 7 p.m. So Sunday, July 17th at 7 p.m., North Hempstead Beach Park. Bring a chair, a blanket, and just have a great time. There's so many. I think that's such a part of Long Island in the summer too, is just the outdoor, whether it's an outdoor concert or, you know, these just local concerts. I think that's just such a part of Long Island and the beautiful parks that we have. So check it out. And there's more to come.
Christina, I'm sorry, but today's Newsday, you talked about North Hempstead Beach Park.
Yes.
They North Hempstead did let 100 new quails go in the trail area of North Hempstead Beach Park. And according to this article, it says that each of those quails will account for eating 10,000 ticks each, which is unbelievable.
Wow.
Yeah. So it's a very natural way. And the town has been doing this now. This is the 5th year.
Yeah.
I'm glad the current administration, the new administration, is going along with that, which is good. But I found these numbers pretty interesting. You know,
it's amazing. Well, listen, I mean, I remember doing this show, and I remember first reporting about the quails, because we were like, our minds were blown by the whole concept of it. But I think that's what's so cool about North Hempstead is that there's so many different innovative kind of organic-y, you know, economically good sound ways to do certain things. You know, of course, we had the quails. There were the bats that were, you know, getting mosquitoes.
The goats.
The goats.
The goats were eating poison ivy and poison oak.
So there's
clear the field.
Walking path at North Hempstead Beach Park on Fun Day Monday, we are going to have a walking tour. So that's another really good thing. And one other thing I just wanted to say, please be careful in the morning when you come to Fun Day Monday. A lot of times, if you get there before 10, it could be 20 degrees cooler. And then just as the sun comes up, it gets really hot. So we always have beverages and things like that, but just to make sure you're dressed comfortably and kind of you're aware of the weather. You don't want to overdress, because a lot of times, you know, as we get older, we get colder a little easier. And I just don't want people overdressing. You know, just be aware of the weather. And please, if you're going to do the walking tour, and if you're doing any of the fitness classes, to please wear sneakers. I know they make a lot of sandals today that are very kind of walkable and, you know.
I know, it's still not quite the same though as wearing a sneaker.
Because
I've walked that trail.
Exposed.
I've walked that trail quite a few times, and it's not really rugged, but you know, it's like wood chips and dirt and whatever. But you don't want to walk in sandals.
No, right, because you could get bit, even if the shoes are good for, you know, that. And they do have someone who is, let me just see, guiding that tour. So they're going to, you know, you're going to have a guide. Someone will be talking about the park and the places. And there's also going to be mindful coloring at Fun Day Monday and all kinds of fun things.
Great, good. So check it out. And as Beck said, always call 311 or 516-869-6311 to make sure that it is still on, weather permitting. And if it's not on that Monday, it's going to be on that Thursday, if the weather is good that Thursday. So, and there's also, we must mention, free transportation stops available at so many different
That's what
locations.
I wanted to ask. Is parking free at Fun Day Monday?
Parking is free.
Yeah, okay.
Parking is free. Great one. And I know last week we had mentioned, we were talking about farm stands because, of course, we were talking about I must say, our food storage and expiration topic that we did. I reevaluated my fridge this weekend and I was reorganizing. And of course, I always feel so cool after the radio show because I have all this knowledge. And I could just, spring it on people, these random facts. So Jay was laughing at me because I just kept randomly bringing up different things that our guest told us.
The avocado with the pit in it. That was
I thought about it when I was cutting up an avocado last night.
Don't take the pit out.
That's right.
You're storing it.
And Cornell Cooperative Extension, on top of, all these great nutritional chats that they do for us, they're doing a lot of these farm stands around Long Island. And I just want to let people know that for market updates where these different, because there's coupons that you're able to get as well. So for all this information, call 516-832-2591, extension 22. And there's just a lot because they accept certain cash, debit, credit cards. There's, as I mentioned, there's different SNAP benefits and coupons that are available. But the closest one, probably to North Hempstead, will be on Saturdays. It started July 9th, and it's over at Eisenhower Park. It's open from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m., and there's a bunch of fresh and local produce brought to the community. So definitely check that out. I think that. And now you know how to store it. If you listened to last week's episode,
right.
You can really preserve the life of, what I did do, I must say, which I was very proud of that worked. I bought a big thing of dill, and it was beautiful and vibrant.
Did you do it?
No, I did not. I bought it at Ivorone.
Okay.
So, when you get the dill, I buy dill all the time. I'm always buying herbs, but dill is something I use a lot. And it's very damp when you buy it. And I was thinking about our conversation with Kai that we had last week. And she's to put it in between paper towels and then in like an airtight kind of Ziploc bag. So I did that, and I have to say, it's making such a difference. I bought it, probably it was on Sunday, I think it was. So it works, people. So there's ways to preserve and save money. I think everyone's trying to save money and not be wasteful. So there's these little tips that you can do, and I have to say, I took it. I took the advice, and hopefully in our Pioneer newsletter, we'll have some more tips from Cornell.
Right. I like the difference between a expiration date and a best use by date. Like,
right.
That's the big, the best use by, because it loses some of its value, nutritional value, or, if it's not used. But, if it says expires on, I'm tossing it.
Sell by.
Best use by, I'll go, that's more of like a suggestion.
Yeah. Well, it's all good. So if anyone missed that, you could check it out. It is up on the WCWP Studios YouTube page. It's up there now. So Dan made that video, and it's there so you can watch it. So check it out on the YouTube page if you missed it. So much great information. I also just want to remind people, if there are any questions or Project Independence programs or are questions about the radio show or exercise, fitness classes, a lot of things are coming this fall. You can call 311 or 516-869-6311 for all that information because there's so many great things coming, and it's exciting. It's good stuff.
Well, I want to thank you, Kristina, of course, for this radio show every week, the great guests, and Otto for always being there, and Dan, just great that, we're always still a team.
And to you. Today was a good one, guys.
Thank you. It was a great show and super informative. And we'll see everybody next week. We're listening to Project Independence in You, Community Talk Radio on 88.1 FM and WCWP.org. Have a great weekend, everyone.